Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ishida, and I welcome you guys to the very first Nautcast, your podcast about awesome knots from the people within awesome knots. With me is my co-host Quick. Quick, say hello.
YOLO!
YOLO, fantastic. The niveau just got a little bit deeper, but that's okay. Maybe our guest can make the whole thing a little bit better. We got a special guest. He's the captain, I guess, from Team NERF. CleverGirl, say hello.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Going well, man. Wait, man.
Man,
CleverGirl's a dude?
CleverGirl's a dude,
Yes.
I guess.
I'll let you in on the little secret here. My name comes from the movie Jurassic Park.
No, the one scene with the raptor where he's like, "Oh, clever girl."
Yeah, the movie about the
Yes.
senior citizens.
Yeah, sure. Wasn't that the one with,
Yep.
Godzilla and Froggy G and stuff?
Yeah, Froggy G had a cameo in that one, but it wasn't played up very well due to his rap record.
Yeah.
They had to take him out for the kiddies, you know?
Well, without joking, I actually thought for quite some time that CleverGirl was in fact a girl. And then I watched, I think it was the video on Silence where you did with Slow Wolf. And I sat there in my chair and was like, holy shit, that's a dude.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that originally. Basically, I just picked this name up. I had been playing Leon, and I was like, you know what? I remember that line from Jurassic Park. I'm gonna go with that. And then after I started getting really involved in the community, it was basically a really noticeable name, so I stuck with it. So a lot of the old people now are aware that yes, I am a guy. But for all the new people out there, yes, I am a guy.
He's the guy, in fact.
He is,
Y'all were the victors of APL 2, right?
That is correct.
was great matches. I was quite surprised when I saw your team composition. I have to say I just watched the stuff from Slow Wolf. I actually wasn't that much into competitive awesome knots at all, but then I saw you guys and I was like, wow, this is deeper than I thought.
Yeah, I'm actually really pleased with APL and how it's progressed recently. Basically, the scene has kind of changed over the years, and honestly, all the exposure that happened during the second APL really brought it up, so a lot of people noticed what was going on. And I love that all the teams were trying out interesting combinations for the most part.
Yeah, it's always nice to see some new combinations instead of the same old, because that keeps the game fresh and it keeps the meta rotating, which I quite like.
Yeah, it's actually funny. Currently, the meta is kind of revolving around early game strategies. A lot of people are running piggy bank, but back during
Oh god,
APL
piggy
2,
bank.
yeah, I won't get into that. But back during APL 2, Solar Tree was basically the go-to upgrade. That the majority of people were running it. A lot of games where you didn't have as much team fighting early on. People would kind of hang back a little bit more, do a little bit of farming. But that's what ended up happening with our team comp. We surprised everyone and just basically went a full-on rush strategy, and took a lot of people by surprise.
Yeah, I saw that. You completely steamrolled Baraku and Awful and everybody else.
I had flashbacks watching that. I thought I was watching Age of Empires 2 and a Hun rush all over again.
Oh, that's some old stuff, man.
Yes, I'm old, leave it be.
Talking about new players, Linux version. Wow, I was impressed. I saw the threads when they came up originally and saw that Yoast like answered them, but I don't know. I kinda expected they're gonna go through with it, but I didn't expect one so early.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
mean,
definitely they want to try and get a lot of coverage. Rama was actually really good about this, so they want to try and get the platform out as best as they could. And again, I'll throw in the point right here that yes, consoles, you guys have had it rough, and it's probably going to stay that way. Sorry.
but it's okay because Awesomenauts can run on a toaster if you hook it up correctly.
Indeed.
This
Or
is true.
else you're gonna play 500 ping Yuri. Because 500 ping Yuri is always fun.
Or old school Thornfish on Froggy.
Oh,
The
god
nightmares.
Yeah, I actually checked the console Knots forums for the last weeks or so because I was looking for more people to invite to the Nautcast, and I saw they actually got to a competitive scene and such. It was quite interesting. They built their own leagues with their own rules, like banning, Thornfish Froggy and stuff like that. I like it how that developed.
Yeah, a lot of the things like the tournament and competitive scene has really come from the community, and Ronimo has been trying to support it. So it's definitely like if you see something that's not in the game that you want in the game, basically voice it. And even though there's a lot of voices out there and conflicting things, people will usually speak up. They might side with you and get things going.
Well,
so kudos to whoever started up the competitive scene on consoles. That was definitely a good way to go.
well, spectator mode. Ronma, please.
And I second that. Give me a spec mode, damn it.
It makes casting so much easier, man.
Yeah, I think that was a big takeaway from APL 2, is that a lot of people wanted to be able to actually spectate and make the casting easier, because we had a lot of issues. Actually, I was the one running the stream for Team NERF, and I believe in a couple of early matches, it was just abysmal to watch due to delay and lag issues.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Quick is putting up a tournament for himself, and we were planning on casting that, and we were informing ourselves about the whole casting things. I tweeted to Four-Card Chester, and he told me that there is just a restreaming possibility,
Which will be all sorts of fun. We'll broadcast your delay of the delay, so we'll be like the NFL if you're an American. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
well,
it's like-
it is good. A lot of people have gotten into streaming now, so usually most of the teams have someone who can stream on them. So, I mean, it's still obviously just a workaround, but
That's the best we've got.
exactly.
We're gonna take what we get and make great things, and maybe Ronma will see that and think, wow, they do great things. Let's help them do great things. I actually love the engagement by Ronma, though. For example, that they put you guys up on the behind the drop points, like the congratulations to Team NERF thing.
Yes, a lot of the new people who just came in from the Humble Indie bundle actually will miss that out, but for a long period of time after APL 2, there was a little screen currently where the Pirate Leon sticks that actually had our team name and team member names on there for winning the APL 2.
That was awesome, man. I liked that very much. Like,
So a little history question. Was APL community made, or was it backed by Ronma from the get-go?
It was actually community made.
Really?
I don't want to get things wrong and say who did or didn't do it, because I honestly don't know offhand. But I know there's just a handful of people who are just like, you know what, this is a good idea. Let's start getting it going. And they started getting a lot of people together, made a website as well, actually. So the APL has its own website and forums that people can talk on.
it's awesome. Nauts Pro League, all one word, .com. Join it. Visit us, please, somebody.
We're so lonely.
We need people,
Yeah.
man.
And it was really good. Actually, the APL 1 tournament was basically just founded by the fan members. And I believe Ronimo might have been in as well. I'm not entirely sure. But that went through. It was pretty good. And after that, Ronimo got more vested interest when it came around to APL 2. So they started getting the word out.
But at the same time, do we worry that maybe the competitive scene is crowding out casual play?
That's a big talk. Like right now, a lot of people are still kind of looking at this whole solo queuing casual players versus pre-made teams. because there are now a lot of actual active teams playing in the game. But it's one of those things that I'm against the idea of trying to split both of these factions. If you cause a split between the actual player base saying like, oh, well, all the hardcore gamers need to play over here, the casual players can go play over there, you're going to have less chances of getting good matches together.
Yeah, we'll go the way of Super Monday Night Combat. Rest in peace.
Indeed. You're still going to have flaws for people that sometimes you will have those games that you're going to be working your way up in leagues, and then you're going to run into this really powerful team, and
get
you'll probably get
stomped.
Yeah. But just honestly, take it with a grain of salt and take some things away. Hit tab, look at their build-outs, be like, oh, he's running this? I didn't think about that. See what they're doing, how they're working together as a team, sort of thing.
Yeah, I actually wrote that in one of the threads, like, yeah, when I get ruffle stomped, I don't really want to win, but I want to learn how the enemy plays. Like you said, press tab, look at the builds. Look how they make the team work. Think about what is the idea behind that team. Is it a push team? Is it a nuke team? Or whatever. I think that's quite important, and a lot of people are missing this. Or they're just not interested in competitive play. That's also a possibility.
I think competitive play might have taken off a little bit more if we can get some sort of dedicated voice activate or voice chat in the game. I know when they first announced the mute button, I was like, oh, sweet, and then it just ended up blocking taunts.
Yeah, it's definitely... I mean, you want to see things like you want to see a spectator mode. You want to see these in-game voice chats. I know I would love to have in-game voice chats so I can actually type out to a lot of the people I sold you with and be like, well, you should probably try and do this. But we're getting there. I think the big thing to point out is the fact that the Humble Indie Bundle recently came out and brought a lot of new players in.
Which was great, man.
Yeah, that was really good to have. And you're going to have that influx of some people who are going to be like, oh man, this game is hard. Or this game is awesome. I want to keep playing it.
Yeah.
I know for a while there, everybody was like, oh, Awesome Nuts is dying, we're stagnating. And Ronimo was like, oh, don't worry about it, we got this covered. And they had it covered.
Yeah,
give credit where credit's due.
Did you guys catch the stream? The Halo reveal stream?
Yes.
I absolutely loved that stream. The chat was furious. I was at work and I joined the chat like 2 or 3 hours earlier, and there were all the trolls from the Balance of Tactics forums there, and it was quite fun writing with them. And
all the trolls. Do you just mean Toilet Humor's alternate accounts?
He's probably got like 6 accounts at this point in time.
Love you, Toilet Humor. You terrible troll.
Yeah, he's still a good player. But yeah, definitely the new influx of players is definitely what's needed. As we get more players and more active people who are playing and at least coming into games, talking on the forums, things like that, we're able to get Ronmo to basically realize, oh, well, maybe we should get like in-game voice chat, we should get this spectator mode, and basically try and deliver these things that are going to make life basically easier for people within the game.
Yeah, the good thing is with Ronma, they really listen to you. You got Yoast in the forums who just goes around and answers to random threads like, yeah, that's a good idea, or no, we don't like that. It's quite nice. I love that. I play other games like, Dota, MOBA and Dota and such, where you don't really get that interaction with the developers.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about a small indie company like Ronmo. Actually, Team NERF had gone down to even PAX East, and we actually were able to talk to a couple of them. I believe we actually talked to Juice down there.
I actually think you guys even took a picture. They uploaded it to Facebook. It was great.
You are some sexy people.
Oh yeah. If anybody want to see that on the Facebook page of Ronma, just browse through the pictures of the convention. God damn it, words. They fail me today.
PAX East.
PAX East, thank you very much.
Yeah, and you can confirm that, yes, I am a man and not a very deep-voiced woman. In case you're still skeptical at this point in time.
Yeah.
I still am. I'm holding out hope.
Okay.
I'm
Well.
sorry. I have a man crush on CleverGirl. Sorry.
It's
Can't a
okay.
guy have a man crush?
No,
Come on.
no, it's okay, man. It's okay. Whatever floats your boat. Yeah. So, Clever Girl.
On that awkward note.
On that awkward note, Clever Girl. Besides man crushes, you're also one of. Besides being the man crush of Quick, you're also one of the beta nods.
That is correct.
Yeah, so the first question to get it out of the way, and to cite one of my favorite threads in the forum, Clever Girl, how do I beta?
Well, you really don't. No, I'm just kidding. Here's the interesting thing about the beta. The beta is actually one of those things that kind of also worked as the players themselves kind of instigating it. A while back, the map that you now know as Agion was going to be brought out. And what Ronmo did, they're like, you know what? Well, why don't we get people to test it out? And they made a free beta that anyone could just jump on, try out the map. It was very basic. They had a bunch of different things, like in the middle, instead of a stealth orb, there was actually a tree that had little health fruit that you could pick up. They would grow over time and give more health. And a lot of people jumped on that, came up with ideas. Actually, that's why you have a lot of the things like the bottom area of Agion that has that little bush that you can jump down and hide in. It used to be just a straight corridor.
Oh, I
Okay, so
absolutely
who do
love
we
that.
blame? Who do we blame for that bottom part of Agion?
Oh, I'm not
if you're
gonna
big,
name
you can't
names
escape.
here. You'll have to go find that form.
Oh, come on, it's great when you got somebody stuck in there and you go left with a Scoldia, right with a Durple, and you just rape them to shreds.
There's nothing left. If you're a fatty, don't go to the bottom row. It's a bad idea.
Except you've got another friend and there is already somebody down there.
But yeah, so what ended up happening with that beta, everyone liked that. They're like, wow, this is really good. And around this time, actually still the most predominant team was Team Awful. And they had been actually speaking with Ronmo a lot because they had a lot of this good input, a lot of really well players who were topping leaderboards, things like Sam, BFIR, Cole, Nico. So they were talking to Ronmo, and basically, I believe the idea was concepted. It's like, well, we can continue doing that and basically having some balance notes checked out by people prior to releasing the patches. So what ended up happening is that Nico started inviting people that were really well entwined with the community, spoke up, knew that they were possibly really good players or just players who are really good with balance numbers, testing, things along those lines. So basically, if you want to get in the beta knots, aside from trying to some Nico, because realistically at this point it's not going to happen, is basically getting really involved in the community. Getting a lot of playtime in, getting really good at the game, understanding the game, and then just having really good ideas and getting into the community.
And of course...
So you're telling me that me spamming the forums saying that Leon's tongue should get Arbe is not the best idea?
Yeah, it's probably not the best idea, but Leon with Arbe would be interesting.
Interesting, of course. Like interesting game breaking.
I'm of the coalition to add Arbe to every character in some form or fashion.
Arbe to Bull. Make it Ranma. Arbe to Trinomite.
I'd like a permanent Arbe solution so we can make Awesome Knots Dodgeball.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be next April 1st joke. Everybody gets Arbe.
Next April 1st joke. Every character is actually Froggy. You select the character, it just gives you Froggy.
Everybody Froggy.
3v3 Froggy matches.
I had the expectation that Ranma, as an answer to all those, oh my god, OP nerf threads, just puts every damage or on every number that has something to do with damage back to 1 for April 1st and says, there, everybody nerfed, what now?
I'd play it.
I'd play it.
The longest games of all time, but I'd play.
The best games of all time. That would be extremely tactical.
But yeah, so the beta knots is pretty awesome. the nice thing is that we have been letting people in on the changes that have been out there and going out there. I believe right now, it's closed for the amount of people that are being accepted, and we might actually narrow it down, try and get a smaller group. But even if you're not within a part of the beta knots, we still basically let you know of the changes within the forums, and you can definitely have feedback and input. There's usually always someone who's trying to stream something as the patches are going around.
Yeah, I love the idea of a beta team because I don't really understand anything about balance. And I like the notion that I can say, yes, there were people who actually know something about balance, who tested out this patch and can say, yes, it works. Something good must be behind it.
Well, that's debatable. After watching a lot of the streams, I'm questioning how some people got into the beta. I can understand playtesting and make sure you can't do broken things, but for the first 2 days of Ayla, it was just everybody flying into the sky for hours.
Yeah, I'm sad that that had recently changed because it was a really fun and interesting mechanic. And who knows, maybe something along those lines will come back at some point. I'm definitely not making any promises or hints here, but we'll definitely
Wink,
see. Ayla's definitely still up for debate on what could be changed before the patch is released.
Is there going to be a beta 3? I know y'all got through patch 1 and 2 of the beta.
There actually beta 3 is already out, and it was posted recently. Just small changes. You'll actually for whenever you do hear this, listening back, like for example, Derpel now has an arm time on his snares, for example.
Oh, that's a great solution.
No more bump snaring, but back to Froggy.
But it was such a skillful way to play.
Skillful, possibly for getting to work off. The problem is, most Derpel players just literally just walk at people in the current iterative of the game instead of trying to tactically place themselves somewhere. It's all about just like, okay, I'm just not going to siege up or do anything. I'm just going to wait till I bump snare and then just combo out.
Yeah, that's true. But it was so beautiful and so much QQ. I run on QQ. Did they finally fix Ayla being perma-cocooned?
Yes, that got fixed a little while back. It
That
was
was
a
definitely
really
the most
weird
fun to
thing with
watch.
her. Yeah, it was a weird thing with her hitbox, I believe, that caused her to be cocooned, come out, and then just stay there forever. Actually, you had that same glitch with Genji originally with his cocoon. It would happen certain times, especially to, I believe it was Clunk.
Yeah, Clunk would grow very large and then just get stuck there.
Yeah, Giant Clunk, it was great. A friend of mine now mains Genji, and in the first weeks we got Giant Clunks on the enemy team. It was great. Early box, man. The funniest ones. So, how does the patch look at the moment? Are the things that people are shouting about fixed?
You're always gonna have people with doubts. I will say that originally this was a patch that was just designed to release Ayla, as well as fixing bugs, but it turned into a small balance patch as well, which is actually pretty nice to see. And I would say, like, once this patch goes live, things are going to change up a little bit, and people will generally like what has happened.
One thing that jumped to my eye was the cooldown nerf on Lone Star's Dynamite. Does it actually change anything?
It does. Now, I'm not going to say that it's going to fix everything about Lone Star, but it does make him less able to run into people and try and keep spamming Dynamite. It also diminishes his actual pushing power, in the sense that he's not going to be able to just sit on a turret behind droids and take it down relatively fast. But at the same time, it's only a small change. You're probably still going to see him change a little bit more. I know there's talks about removing face might in a sense, or instead making his ability to throw Dynamite take a little bit longer to start up.
you might see one of those iterations as we go along.
So
Yeah,
speaking of balancing and such, as a professional player, how would you rank the tunes right now, the characters? What's your tier list actively going?
Well, this is definitely going to be opinionated,
Oh, of
and definitely not
course.
set in stone, but I would have to say the best Knots right now, or in my opinion, the best Knot, is Lone Star. Mostly in the regards that he can do anything you really need to have done in the game or want to do in the game. He can push, he can kill players, he has air denial tools, he has pretty good movement once you get triple jumps, good at team fighting. He can do a lot of the things that you'd want.
his
So
vertical
really,
mobility
better
is
than Skoldir.
I think he's overall better than Skoldir and Froggy, who are also rated as some of the higher Knots up there. Froggy is the best, in my opinion, player killing Knot. Like in a 1v1 fight, most of the time once he gets going, you'll probably lose against a good Froggy player. But he still can be shut down. He has relatively lower health. Skoldir is pretty good, but you can space him out very well. Definitely each Knot has their own differences, but I would definitely say those are some of the better players, or better Knots in the game.
And then,
I'm gonna say
who's the weakest Knot?
right now. Now, are we talking within the beta or within the current?
1.19.
Within 1.19, I will say it would probably still be Voltar, but I would almost, as crazy as it seems, say that I would almost put Vinian Spike close to him, in the weird iteration that Vinian Spike has a lot of counters and doesn't do a lot. But we're still looking at Voltar as one of the weakest Knots. He can be used to great effect. You put him on the right team, then he's going to be amazing. But overall, he's the least flexibility within the game. I'll have to say that.
Thanks. There goes my Voltar dreams.
Oh,
Oh, don't worry about that. I've just as some insight into things. I've started talks on the Bayonet forums about the Volta redesign and trying to get things moving along.
ooh, so it's finally
won't
coming.
Maybe. This is just trying to get the initiative going and seeing what people have thoughts for. And I've done a couple of threads back in the day about getting information about Voltar and what people want. I may do it again. We'll see. But the whole point is to try and get something moving along. We want to try and bring Voltar up to be more fun to play. He's still fun right now, but not to the majority of people.
You heard it here first, guy. Healbot Arbe.
He'll vote with RB, correct. Yeah, the problem I see with Volta is that he is a incredibly passive character to play. You don't really do that much. You throw down your heal bot, you spam the auto attack on the Knots. When they die, you die. And late game you can maybe burst down somebody with your drones, but that's it, pretty much. In comparison
That's basically
to
how he plays, yeah. He's super passive. But I will say in the late game, Voltar is probably as odd as it seems, Voltar is one of the better Knots, in the sense that his late game is amazing, but he is one of those really weird scaling issues. Early on, he doesn't do as much as you'd like him to do. You don't really do much yourself. You're probably not really going to get kills. But you have things like the infinite heal bot, your drone just passively allowing you to run away from Knots and just dealing massive damage as they're firing at them.
Yeah, all aboard the Vol train. We have to patch that out somehow.
The fun fact too is that Voltar reaches the late game earlier than other Knots because he can farm so ridiculously fast.
Yes, definitely. Actually right now I'd say this is the funny thing. The fastest two farmers, probably in my opinion, or I'll say the fastest three, and here's why. The fastest three farmers are Voltar, Vinian Spike, and Raylan. And the reason why is because they all have special solar options that allow them to basically speed up their game. And if they're able to stick within those options, they level up faster than most people can.
And
Which
that
is
combined with Solar Tree or something. New meta, guys.
No, actually, it's not. This is still possibly an issue with Piggy Bank, but you have Volter doesn't have Piggy Bank, but he naturally gets Solar for healing allies. He has an option that gives him increased Solar when he heals. So if you can constantly get healing going on, if your opponents are just trying to peck away at your team, he's going to start getting more and more. If a Volter train happens to occur, he's going to start getting tons of Solar. Vinny and Spike has a Solar option on his Cloud, that if you get more enemies into the Cloud, you get more Solar. So if you set it up so that you're catching 3-4 people in the Cloud, getting a Solar a second, it starts getting really good. And Raylan has what I would say is the worst offender for a Solar upgrade, aside from Piggy Bank and Solar Tree, is Flashy Glasses, which is a percentage-based Solar gain based on the amount of damage her snipe does and to each target.
Now, does that top out at the second damage upgrade? Because I see a lot of people online will only go to 65 damage and then save the 75 for late game.
It's possible that they're trying to do it. It doesn't. You don't get much more from going, actually, from like the damage upgrades going into each tier, mostly due to the amount of percentage gains. But you still do gain more. I think the trend probably still is trying to rush and get that 3 tiers, but a lot of people will try and maybe pick up regen or boots before finishing up the snipe upgrades. So that's probably what you'll see more often in games.
And no love for Leon's Magnet Tongue?
No, and the reason why I'm going to say there's no love for Leon's Magnet Tongue is while you can go off and basically farm like a separate lane by yourself, Leon is one of those characters that needs to honestly be more active in a game. He needs to be going after players, trying to get those kills, that he can't just sit back and passively farm. But again, that's my opinion.
No more Leon farm skin. We're going to give him a little rice hat and put him in a patty, but now we're stuck with Leon as a pirate.
Oh, well, Pirate Leon is a great skin. I think
Yes.
Yoast said it's like his favorite skin. Or something like that.
So, CleverGirl, do you have any crazy skin ideas?
I have a list somewhere of skin ideas. And I
Please
even
share.
had done a brief forum about it, but I don't know, maybe I'll come back around. I'll go take a look for that skin as we're talking. And maybe we'll come back around to see what ideas I had.
Okay, that sounds fun. In the meantime, we can talk a bit more about Team NERF. You already told us pretty much how you guys were organized. You said that I think it was Mr. Escalator or somebody who put together the team. Is that right?
Well, here's the funny thing. Mr. Esk, myself, and Nerf Pyrocles, we are actually all related. So the reason why we actually had a team is because we basically have just all been playing together from the get-go.
So are they like
that's-
cousins? Do y'all meet at family reunions and
We're
throw in
actually
the rest of
all
the family?
brothers. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dum,
I
dum,
did not know
dum.
that. Holy cogs.
The big reveal.
The big reveal.
Even bigger
Oh.
reveal, they're all Siamese triplets. It's awkward sharing a controller between them.
Yeah. They all just sit in front of one computer and play with triple split screen.
I will say this: if someone can start winning matches in a tournament doing split screen, then that would be amazing.
I think you should get like a handicap for that, you know? Like if you're playing split screen, you should instantly get like 1.5 the amount of solar or something while playing the game.
It would be amusing. But yeah, so we just kind of all sort of formed a team together, and the only reason
we came up with Team NERF is mostly because we were going to compete in APL 1. And we're like, oh, we need a team name to sign up. And we're like, I don't know, Team NERF, I guess, as a placeholder. We're like, we'll just do that. And then it basically stuck. The reason why is because Nerf Pyro Please had always just had it. Basically just for nerfing the Pyro in TF2 as an ironic name.
I was about to say, Pyro is distinctly underpowered.
But yeah, so as the team kind of goes together, I will say that Esk is the one who comes up, Mr. Escalator comes up with a lot of the ideas and organization for team comps. In fact, what you saw in APL 2 was from the fact that Esk wanted to use Derpel, who at the time was basically one of the weaker Knots. He was basically at what was denoted as Derpel tier. Like he was below Voltar. There's a time he was below Voltar.
I remember Derpel tier. Oh, but I always thought that you were the brain of the operation, because you were like, I don't know, the clever girl.
Well, it's kind of funny. I'm very active in kind of high concept ideas for changes and things like that. I'll post maybe on Fridays every now and then of things that could change within the game. Maybe things that I don't necessarily want to see change, but kind of have people think about what could be done differently, how you could change up a character to perform different roles. And I'm not going to say that I'm better off than Esk or Nerf or anything, because they also have some really great ideas, including the fact that drones now for Voltar only came about because Nerf Pyro wanted them to be throwable. Originally,
Really?
Voltar's drones just exploded where they were. It actually provides a pretty interesting concept back in the day, because all of his drones would basically appear and then slowly regenerate, but they would be stored. So what you do is you run up to someone as Voltar, explode all 4 drones on them, your drones would spawn again, and you do it again. It was pretty amusing and quaint at the time, but Nerf Pyro Please decided to try and get them to be throwable, as within the intro for Osmots, where you see Voltar throwing his drones out. So I won't say that I'm better off than either of them. We all have good ideas. But yeah, that APL 2 team comp came around mostly because Esk wanted to use Derpel on a team. And despite what people thought while the tournament was running on, saying, oh, Voltar is the reason why their team is doing so well, or it's Node Skull there.
Oh, it was that silent snare.
It was all on Derpel. Let me just take some time to kind of talk about that team comp. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, please, go on.
In APL 1, we ran the exact same team comp. I'm not even kidding. It was the exact same team comp. However, first match we were put against Team Awful. And they we still weren't really, I guess, set with the team. It was still kind of being worked on, and they just ran all over us. It was pretty bad. So as APL 2 came up, we still kind of messed around with the team comp, and actually at one point in time, I had, as playing the Skoldir, I was like, you know what, I'm going to take the Fleck Fist and just kind of try that out. Mostly, I'm like, well, maybe we'll get placed on a certain map that can utilize it. And this was actually during the time that flying droids were buffed, that they were doing massive damage. And I was like, you know what, I'll put Deflect on. If we get that as a map, it'll be actually really good. And I believe we ended up pre-made queuing on this ladder. We got AI Station. We got a team of 3 against us, and we beat them within the first 5 minutes or so. Because the Deflect Fist was really powerful on that map.
Wow.
And we're like, wow, this is going to work.
You don't see it used often anymore, though. Was it significantly changed from its previous incarnation?
No, nothing has actually changed from the Deflect Fist, I believe, since it first started. But basically what ended up happening, the team comp was surprised Derpel Voltar Skoldir. The goal was Derpal is going to kill people, plain and simple. Voltar is just going to be there to be like, you know what, I need to keep Derpal alive and kind of help out Skoldir. And Skoldir was there, especially with Deflect Fist. Once we figured out that that's what we wanted, we're like, Deflect Fist, that's what we need. Because before we're like, we're just going to put down a snare, Skoldir's going to run in, throw them in, and then we'll kill them. But we realized once we had Deflect Fist, you could put Skoldir in front of Derpal to stop a lot of the poking issues that Derpal would have, because he couldn't stay siege for so long.
And it worked.
Once we figured out that if you put Voltar behind, Skoldir in front, and just have Derpal be the person that you can't really fight on, we basically set up a scenario that the team fight is on Derpal, and if you went on him, most of the time you're going to lose if you try and get to that area. And that's what ended up pushing us through a lot. Now, here's the funny thing about the APL2 tournament, is that we had not originally been signed up. We were on the backup list because we had just missed a window. A lot of teams signed up. However, at basically towards the end of it, a couple of teams didn't respond, didn't show up, and we were put into the grouping for one of the brackets. This team just didn't show up. I think they kind of disbanded, which is unfortunate. And we're like, you know what? Well, we don't have any teams that we're practicing. Let's go back to our team comp. And we proceeded to, I think within those qualifiers, we ended up knocking out all the teams. We didn't lose a single match, and we won 2 of the matches under 4 minutes. I think one of them might have been, I don't know the times, but it was really short. Because we just pushed in, we did a Voltar train and won.
And suddenly became the favorites. I remember them talking, the only challenge they're going to run into is awful, but then y'all ran into bad Aku. What happened in that game?
Yes, and that's where things kind of went bad, is that we were a little overconfident, and we started kind of going away from our roles. Because the funny thing about the team comp is that it's not so much about the knots they're using, but the strategy. It's like, well, we fight on Derpal, we need to stay together and just move together. And there are a couple times that I got caught out. We probably sieged up in bad locations. And the match was still close, but we ended up staying too long and fighting on a really bad area for Sirona against Bad Aku. They ended up killing us off, pushing in and winning the game right there and then. And basically at that point, it's actually funny, we thought we were going to be out of the tournament. We're like, oh, well, we don't really stand a chance. But we got knocked down to loser bracket. Now, this all happened, I want to say, on Saturday night of that weekend, where we got knocked down, and we might have played one more game. So like, oh, well, let's maybe do some changes. And I think there were slight changes we had made. One of them was actually the infamous silence trap on snare. We hadn't run it before. It wasn't actually being run or being picked up early, and we're like, you know what? Well, Froggy had trouble. We had trouble with Slow Wolf's Froggy, so we put it on. It ended up being amazing, as you actually saw in some of those other matches for the streams, that it would shut down Froggy hard. Froggy would dash in, realize, oh, I can't Arbe, gets exploded upon.
And that really set the tone for every Derpal since then.
Yeah, it definitely did. There was a lot of debate whether or not it was the duration of traps that were causing issues, but it definitely was the combination of silence with the just immobilization. It basically made it that if you did get caught in a trap, that you were going to be caught out. And that, in turn, is actually the birth of bump snaring. Once you realize that you can just deliver a snare that they can't react to, they're silenced, they can't move, you basically can get some really easy kills.
So where should we expect to see the brothers NERF next, tournament-wise?
Well, there was recently a fan tournament that we were in, and we ended up getting, funny enough, placed against Awful in like the second match. And honestly, we got run over.
I saw that match. That was sad to watch.
Yeah, there was some communication problems, breakdown issues, but the point of it is we were trying to test a concept for a team. We still have that concept going, and I'm not gonna basically talk too much about it, but there was a reason why we were running that same team comp, and even when it failed the first time, we tried running it again. That's not the team comp we want to run, I'll say that. But there's a concept for it that anyone who can look into it further might be able to figure out. If you do, kudos to you. That's all I'll say.
Well, we're pretty interested.
The challenge has been thrown. The gauntlet is ready. Whoever can perfect Nerf's team wins internet cookie.
One
Yeah,
internet cookie.
We'll perfect our own team. That's the thing. Honestly, our goal within Awesome Knots and within the competitive scene is not just to win, because there are plenty of teams. Like I'll be realistic. Like the players on Team NERF we're not the best of players, but I think that we are probably some of the more tactical, aware players within the game. I mean, we play other games as well. We play like Dota a little bit, so we understand this MOBA scene. A lot of other competitive type games. And it's honestly, our goal is to take a lot of preconceived notions, try and break them and do good with them. That's why Derpal and Voltar were used, and that's why we're going to try and basically do another team that's not Froggy, Skoldir, Lone Star, which is probably the go-to team right now.
Yeah, maybe throw in a slow character like Raylan or Yuri.
Oh, we'll see.
We're pretty much excited. When will we see that? In the next APL or even Summer Knots? Quick
Summer
new tournament?
Knots?
Summer Knots? Everybody join the
Possibly in
Steam
Summer
group.
Knots.
Ah, nice.
So, do you mind if we transition into Summer Knots now?
No, I don't mind at all. Quick, please.
Hi guys, I'm Quick. I'm also known as Rancid Rodent on the streams. I'm a stream monster. I'm on almost every day. I'm stuck in a server room at work, so I'm always watching. I'm always watching.
Always there.
But, I got the idea from a few, people online, namely Rourke. Shoutouts to 3HM Rourke. We threw ideas back and forth after seeing, I don't know if you can call it a tournament, but the effort that Guru's been putting in. CleverGirl, what would you think of the rule set for a Guru's tournament currently?
It was interesting.
It's a
Basically,
running joke right now because if you had a
defined.
question, you had to find another thread about the thread that would explain the
Correct.
new rule.
It was too loosely defined, and that caused issues.
Oh, I actually like that tournament because I'm helping Quick with the rule set, so I always go into that thread, and when there's another complaint, I write him like, look, there's that problem, please put it in the rule set, thank you. So, thank you, Guru.
You've helped us perfect the Summer Knot rule set, which, as far as I know, has seemed to be going over well with most teams. By the way, if you haven't joined the Steam group or steamcommunity.com/groups/something or other, Snots, I think it is.
I don't know, gotta check that out.
But either way, it's the Summer Knots tournament. We're starting on June the 28th. If you'd like, I'll do a quick run over of the rule set.
Please. It's, I just checked, it's /group/Summer Knots, all in one.
With regards to the rules, we kept seeing the same characters, as CleverGirl was saying. You see Froggy, you see Lone Star, you see Skoldir. So we decided to move in the direction of a temporary ban. A lot of people were more afraid of a permanent ban, which I think we saw in Hexacube's most recent tournament, which was awesome, but at the same time, if you ban, Arbe outright or somebody outright, you might get a null pit that is just undestroyable. So what we're going for is best 2 of 3 matches, and after the first match is up, both teams are able to ban a single character from the other side. And if that game is, lost by the previous victor, it'll go to a third match, and you get to switch again. That way, no single comp is just going to raffle stomp everything. Hopefully, at least.
I pretty much like that because I'm looking forward to see teams like you guys from NERF to quickly adapt to those bans and bring out new compositions or an interesting idea under the pressure of one of those bands.
Yeah, that honestly, those are the things that I like the most when I see even solo queuers doing is having those interesting teams and then doing well with them. Because you can have really good players, and this is actually going to bring me back to the APL2. And that doesn't mean you can actually play a team, because what ended up happening, I don't know how many people really saw the finals, but we went against Team Awful, who I'll say arguably they're overall more skilled players than us. But once we beat their go-to team with our team comp, their adaption was trying to play the exact same team comp
And that
as
was
us,
ugly.
but they didn't realize that's not about. I think there was a quote by someone in their stream that had basically said that they were better players than us, that we can just be with the same team comp, which they were right on one part of that at that point in time. But the problem was that the interesting team comp wasn't about being like the best build or playing the character the best. It was about the team working together. So if you're going to be forming a team, definitely look at what complements that you can have certain knots come together and come up with interesting teams. With a banning aspect, like within Summer Knots, you have to basically think on your feet. So that's when actually, honestly, the good players are really going to shine, because they're going to be the ones like, oh, I'm skilled with all these different characters. We can easily just change things up. I know they know our team is based around this certain knot. We'll just fill it in with this one, who's really good.
And that's what we're hoping to see, just interesting after interesting. After a while, during the Guru tournament, you started seeing similar ones back to back, and I didn't even know which teams were going at it anymore. It was mirror matches for a good majority there. But we have the character ban. We're doing double elimination, so if you get knocked out early, switch your team up and come back stronger the next round out. We're trying to make this as professional of a looking stream as possible. I've actually been working on logos for each of the teams that have signed up, so we have some sort of professional presentation, even though we're restreaming everything and it's going to look ugly in that aspect. But we're hoping to move forward with something a little bit more professional. We're also doing I think a novel stage selection idea in which every stage from the pool will be seen in both the losers, winners, and grand finals if they go to the full 4 games. Say if NERF is versing Awful this time out, Clever, what would be the first stage you would like to go to with your current composition?
With the current composition we have, I'd probably say we'd want to see Ribbit first.
And say from there, Ribbit would be knocked out after that, and would be not banned, but it won't be seen again until we see every other stage. That way, you don't get a composition with, say, Raylan with range extender on AI station and nothing moves.
Constantly picking AI.
And don't get me wrong, we're not going to outright ban a stage so your single composition won't work. If you are maining a Raylan poke team and you want AI station, you're going to be able to vote for that stage, and then it's going to be replaced immediately by something else. Originally, we thought of banning AI station and possibly Agilon as well, but there's just so much fun you can have on both stages.
I didn't think that banning the stages outright was the right answer to it. I think it's better now that the players can choose where they want to play. So if they do not want to play Agilon at all, they can voice that and vote for that. I like that quite a lot.
And provided it doesn't get to the 4th game in any of the finals, you don't have to worry about seeing Agilon. And the damn bottom row. Seriously, CleverGirl, who's responsible for that?
I'm not saying.
Back to the waterboarding for you. No, continuing on with Summer Knots. Basically, a few of us sat out and tried to see what we could do to make a more interesting tournament. One of the novelties for this tournament as well is myself, Ishida, and I believe a stream monster named Minor Gray were talking about creating a full prize pool. Right now, we're at 50 between Ishida and I. And if you feel like donating to the prize pool to see better teams come out and better teams play, go ahead and hit us up on the forum. We're either going to set up a PayPal chip-in account or an Indiegogo drive. The problem with the Indiegogo drive, though, is we'd lose 10% instantly to Indiegogo, but that would guarantee that everybody got their prizes. And hopefully, some sort of incentive. We'll see a lot more creativity. Currently, we're sitting at 14 teams or 15 teams. We've had a few drop out due to hue. Specifically, Nuts, we miss you. Come back. You won't have to play too many people from Brazil, myself included.
Nuts.
Yeah, we love you, Nuts. Come back to us.
Please come back.
But aside from that, as a player, CleverGirl, because I'm a lowly League 2er. I think I saw League 1 once, and it was a fever dream. What do you think of the rule set?
It's definitely very good. It covers a lot of aspects that you want to see covered in a competitive game. My only opinion is I like minimalism, but I definitely think that once the scene grows, that you want to have a lot more rules set in place that people kind of understand. I think things like stages and certain characters is one thing that we could see possibly stay the same depending on how the scene turns out. Mostly once we get new characters in, enough that the cast is going to be diverse enough and balanced enough. But a lot of the rules we definitely want to see in place and start getting standardized to actually have the competitive scene all on the same page. So as far as most of those rules go, definitely really good.
And all we need now is a spectator mode, Ronima. Summer Nuts wise, if as I said, if you're wanting to join up, we don't really have a solution for soloers right now. I'd hate to, pair random soloers together. It's really hard to create a coherent group from that. So this is kind of a tournament of champions at this point. While we're not capping off the amount of people that can sign up, we are capping off signups on the 14th of June, which is a week from now, actually. So go ahead and sign up before 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, all your European people. How far back is that for y'all? It's 5 hours before Grand Meridian time?
6 hours, something like that.
Yeesh. So I guess before midnight on June the 14th would work for all of our European friends. Just go ahead and sign your team up, and heck, I'll even try to design you a nice logo for future use. Speaking of which, Nerf, I have no idea what to do for your team. So far, I have a Nerf or nothing ball, and that's it.
Yeah, well.
But now that I know your brothers, maybe I'll work with that.
Oh, man. But yeah, definitely anyone who hasn't signed up, if you have a team or even considering it, even if you don't think you're the best of players, definitely join in. A couple of teams that we fought in APL2 that were actually in our bracket, we have a couple of friends now, and you can actually see that they're actually a lot better players now because they were like, oh, this is what we're going against, and just the exposure is really what's at. So if you have a couple of friends even, and you just want to try it out, see what the competitive scene's like, go for it. You might actually surprise yourself on how far you get.
Most definitely. Don't be afraid to compete. That's probably the idea behind this tournament. I figure the rule set is kind of daunting and it might look like it's a little bit TLDR, but go ahead, read through it, jump on. It's going to be a blast. The only stickler right now for some teams, oddly enough, is the ability to stream. Have you seen as much resistance as I have, Ishida, on that?
Yeah, kinda. Some people asked you saw it on the forums, about if there is a possibility to join if you don't stream, and I see that because in I think you guys in America don't have that good of an internet connection sometimes at some places, so I see problems arising from that, definitely. But I think it was like 1 or 2 teams, and I think we'll find a workaround for that.
Because definitely the goal here is to have something viewable by a wider group than just the community. People would, if they see enough people on a certain stream in Twitch, might join on and discover Awesome Knots anew, and hopefully get in. That's the hope, at least. And as I said, and as Ishii said earlier, Ishii and I will be commentating the entirety. We're going to work on our chemistry. Currently, he's a lot funnier than I am, but We're gonna try and keep it
Thank you
as
very much.
John Madden and Pat Summerall as possible. I'll provide the hard liquor. And
That sounds great.
go ahead, jump in and view, and jump in and play.
Yeah, we will make sure to post a stream on the forums when it's going to go up. And maybe if we aren't that much of a lazy bastards, we'll even set up a Twitter for that. We'll see.
A Twitter. I'm gonna have to learn how to type.
God damn it, typing, it's so hard. How do I move hands?
I don't even I use a controller to play Awesome Nuts. I'm one of those terrible people.
Really? I can't play with controllers at all.
Well,
It
I came from console nuts, and I kind of have a workaround to the inability to kite normally. Ronimo, if you're listening, this is actually a pretty good setup. I have tricked my computer into thinking that my right thumbstick is in fact the mouse, and I've moved all of my buttons to the top bumpers, my attack, my jump, my 2 skills. So I'm able to kind of play it like a twin stick shooter, like a Geometry Wars or a Robotech.
I always thought about that and asked myself, why didn't Ronimo think about that? And I didn't write that because I have very, very big respect for the guys at Ronimo, and they think, oh, they already know that and they're already on it. And then I forget it, and then I stumble upon it again.
Well, maybe like
And then
spec mode, it's on their back burner, and we just have to have a few more people chime in about it.
Yeah, go spam the forums, guys, about Twin Stick. It's gonna be great.
It's how the pros play.
Just will-
And by pros, I mean no one who's professional. Wait, doesn't Plate Lamps play with the controller? I think Plate Lamps plays with the
he might.
controller. Yeah, if I remember correctly. So there's one of us. Now there's 2.
I always play with mouse and the keyboard because the controller just lacks the precision I get with my MLG Pro mouse here.
MLG Pro, are you no-scoping again?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't no scope when I'm podcasting.
YOLO, man. YOLO.
YOLO, all the way.
And that's it as far as I know for Summer Knots. Go ahead and feel free to check out the Steam group. We have a ton of awesome artwork done by Cat Gamer, X Scales, I believe Cynthia as well, and a few others. And we're going to keep posting up art. Hopefully get it to as many threads as we can, bleed all over the forums, and have a huge, awesome tournament.
Yeah, if you want to submit art yourself, just submit it to Quick or myself, because we always love to get the art and decorate the stream and the forums and the Steam group and such.
And it'll be shown all over the stream. So if we actually have viewers, which I'm really hoping so, you'll get to see your art on stream, and so will everyone else.
Yeah.
So
great.
Keep the dongs out of the photos if possible.
Didn't you stumble upon one of those?
Yeah. Some fan art is from the darker side of the internet. Yeah, 30 solar ahead comes to a much different meaning.
Yeah. I stumbled upon one with Lone Star and Coco with just the words push in all caps with a lot of exclamation marks.
Oh man, this is getting into some dark territory. I'm not sure I'm ready for this.
I'm gonna link it after the show.
Well, thanks for letting me talk about Summer Knots, man.
No problem at all. It's a great tournament. Join us, please. Please join us. We put a lot of work in it. Mostly Quick put a lot of work in it. But yeah, it was great fun putting that up. So, yeah.
Is this the end?
I guess this is the end. That sounds so unprofessional. We're at about, I think an hour or so. You guys have anything you want to address on your own, like a big topic you want to make public or talk to the community about or to Ronmo about?
I just mostly want to say for all the new players out there, again, just stick with it. Find some friends to play with. go to the Mumble server even, and don't be afraid to post anything that you think might need to be improved within the forums. Just get more active in the game.
Absolutely. A lot of people are joking about the balance forums, but these threads are all getting read by Ronma. If you have something that bugs you, do post it. It might just help the game.
And shout outs to all the other stream monsters. Minor Gray was already stated. We have a few others. Don't remember you right now. I'm not exactly the greatest of memory, unfortunately, but go ahead and watch and participate in the community. And as Toilet Humor would say, if you want to be legendary, look at his guide, or don't.
His guides, man.
There's some good nuggets of information there hidden behind the rest of the toiletries.
Yeah, true. Although the best guide has to be the Manly Man Guide to Clunk by Creepy Pie. By a landslide.
It is a beautiful thing.
I love it. I love him, man. So, yeah, I think we're at the end. Thank you very much, CleverGirl, for joining us.
Pleasure is mine.
Thank you, Quick, for co-hosting. It was a pleasure.
Woohoo! I got to co-host something again.
Woo!
Normally
Fantastic.
they kick me out and don't invite me back.
Yeah, next show will be without you, but we're gonna talk about that. But that's okay. Anyway, I was happy to do that with you guys. I hope to see and hear you guys again. And with that, we are out.